Yeah, and speaking of change, something the Ravens are not going to be doing is changing quarterbacks in the next 5 seasons. So,
Yeah.
we have Lamar Jackson locked in. We have a few other players locked in. Obviously, the Ravens rookies that they selected this year, pretty much the Ravens rookies they selected last year. You have Marlon, he's under contract for most of that. And you have, Mark Andrews under contract for a large part of that. But outside of that, also Marcus Williams and Roquan. Those are the other guys in the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, we're looking towards these next 5 years. We're looking towards Lamar Jackson's future with the Ravens. Joshua, how do you see the Ravens transforming, molding, adapting over the next 5 years? Is it like, more of the same of just like, oh, let's just retool? Or do you think there may be any sort of like drastic, hey, we're going to switch to this. We're going to go after somebody else and we're going to start spending money here. What do you think the Ravens have in store for the next 5 years with Lamar Jackson?
Well, I would say this. If we didn't get the contract extension, we would have been the rebuild year. Like when you look at this draft that we just completed this year, it was more of a retool type of draft. We just added some pieces here and there. And I feel like for the next 5 years, it's going to be continuous retooling, upgrading, certain positions, especially if we don't get that production that we expect. Like, if we don't see a Dafio Way produced, in a way that, that's going to be beneficial to this defense, I can see us possibly replacing him. And it's nothing against Adafio Way. It's the business. It's, at the end of the day, I can see us possibly, retooling on the offensive line because you still got, on that right side, you got your veterans and Morgan Moses and Kevin Zeichner, things of that nature. You might have to go ahead and in a year or two find a left tackle. You never know with Ronnie Stanley. I'm proud of Ronnie Stanley that he was able to come back healthy and strong the way he did, and I hope he stays healthy and strong. But then what we got. This is Rashad Bateman's 3rd year coming up, so you got one more year and the 5th year option. I don't know if he's going to be the first wide receiver that may get paid under Baltimore. We shall see. If Odell, if Odell has a great year and produce for us, I could see him possibly coming back with us, maybe doing a 2-3 year stint. So, but the thing I like about it is you got your franchise QB for 5 years. In these next 5 years, I can see. I don't know about you, McConnell, but I see 2 MVPs for him, 3 Super Bowl appearances, and 1 win out of the Super Bowl. I feel like because we're not that far off. Look at the defense. We have young guys: Justin Madubuike, Roger Washington, Travis Jones on a rookie contract. You got David Ojabo. You have Odafia Way. You have Tyus Bowser, who is a guy that you still can get for a cheap deal. You still have Marlon. You'll have Marcus Williams. You'll have Kyle Hamilton. You'll have a hybrid guy in Trenton Simpson. You have Roquan Smith for 5 years as well. So, and you never know with PQ. If PQ shows out, he's a weak inside linebacker. You make him work out a 3-year, $48 million type of deal. You never know how it can work out. That offensive side of the ball, I see Gus maybe possibly gone within this year or after this year or the year after. And we probably get another backup running back. Mark Andrews, he'll still be here. But you still got Isaiah Likely. You still got Charlie Kolar. I still see the Ravens still finding a wide receiver in the draft. And Zay Flowers, I know it's a stretch. I know it's too soon. But Zay Flowers may be the next Tyreek Hill. You never know. He has the repertoire to be that guy. To make things happen in space. We all seen it. We just need to now see it when it comes week 1 and preseason. You never know who may make it out of that undrafted free agency too. Keaton Mitchell, that was a guy that may show out. DJ Gillette, he might beat Tyler Huntley as the backup QB. You never know. So for the next 5 years, it's not going to be, a rebuild. I feel like it's going to be retooling, if anything.
I think the retool is correct, and I think the Ravens are really going to retool the offense. Now, obviously, I think this year was a drastic overhaul.
Yeah.
But Todd Monken is going to, warm up with Lamar Jackson, and he's going to figure out, and he's going to see, okay, this is what we want to do. And I feel like my expectation is the Ravens lose their number one running back this year. I think they're going to lose JK. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose both JK and Gus. I think next year's draft, the Ravens are going to look at, okay, Todd Monken, you have seen what this passing game can do. You have Bateman. You have Zay Flowers. We can go get our third wide receiver, maybe in the second, maybe in the third round, get that slot guy, or maybe we want a bigger body outside guy. I really hope we don't have a good enough pick to draft Marvin Harrison, because that would mean the Ravens were really, really bad this year. And they're picking like top 5. But running back is always a position you can get great value at. And maybe they go after the first round guy. I don't know who the top running back is going to be this year. I know, there's some good guys like Blake Corum, EJ Smith. I know we are both fans of coming out of Stanford.
Blake is not going to be top 10. I'm just.
Oh no, not at all. So it's like maybe late first round, maybe second round, third.
I got Blake going third just because he stayed for his 4th year. Now, I mean, he stayed for his senior year, and honestly, because he's trying to be this power back. Like, no, man, go back to what you was doing. But anyway,
we'll be able to see kind of, okay, what do the Ravens and Todd Monken's offense, what do they want? Do they want a power back like Gus, or do they want a pass catcher? Do they want to go after an Alvin Kamara, a Christian McCaffrey, an Austin Eckler type? Or do they want to go after, one of those speed backs? Go for the Kyle Shanahan type of running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go for the Mike McDaniel running back in Miami, right? They just drafted Devin Achane, the fastest running back in the draft class, out of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So, do they want to go after the crazy speed home run hitters? We already have Keaton Mitchell. Maybe that's the guy. Maybe they're just testing it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the running back position is definitely going to be the biggest thing, because obviously the Ravens are always going to be seen as a run heavy team with Lamar Jackson. And I want to correct a lot of people. A lot of people say like, no, the Ravens don't want to be run heavy. They want to throw the ball more. Run heavy. I still consider run heavy running the ball 35% of the time. Like the Ravens, overall have been running the ball around 50%. But really, you run the ball more when you're winning. And the Ravens were winning a lot last year. And so they're going to run the ball more. They're going to try and run the clock out. So I expect the Ravens to throw the ball more, but that running the football is still going to be the identity. Just because you're not running it as much doesn't mean it's not the identity, right? The Golden State Warriors shoot threes. That's their identity. Now, sometimes they do. But normally, they don't shoot more threes than they do 2-pointers. They do against the Lakers, and it totally screws them, and they lose because then they get no free throws. But, it's besides the point. Get my excuses out before the game even happens. Y'all already know what happens if you're watching this on YouTube. But overall, running back, I think, is going to be the biggest thing. And I think pairing Lamar Jackson with a young running back that complements him very well is going to be the best possible thing you can do. Obviously, they're going to have to work on the O-line. They're going to have to work on the defense. But my expectation is maybe outside cornerback number 2, or they just really believe in, Pepe and Demarion, or Pepe is Demarion, but Pepe and Jalen Armour-Davis. And Caillou Blue Kelly. But pass rush, I think, is the, one other thing. Maybe the Ravens transition from no longer needing wide receivers to going back to, man, we need a pass rusher. But hopefully David Ojabo can step up into that role. So it's like, I feel like the Ravens are pretty well set for the future. And I feel like they can absolutely contend over the next 5 years. If you have a superstar quarterback, you should be contending. And the Ravens will absolutely be doing that. I think a lot of people forget about how good the Ravens are. Even when, like, I get people telling me, they're like, man, the Ravens just weren't that good last year, even when they had Lamar. And I'm like, it frustrates me because I'm like, on paper, yes, they don't have a crazy good, they're not putting up a ton of yards. They're not, their defense struggled at the beginning. And I'm like, but you know what? They won. They just win
That's what
when
all
Lamar
matters.
Jackson plays, right? Are they the best team in the NFL? No. But they can absolutely beat any team, and any team that they play against. The Ravens are one of the toughest teams to defeat in the NFL. I would argue that they are the toughest team outside of the Kansas City Chiefs to beat.
I give you that. You know what? I'd rather play against. I'd rather not play against a team that is quote unquote the best. From the rankings. I I'd rather play. I'd rather not play against a team that plays like they have nothing to lose. The Ravens play like a boxer that that's damn near on their last leg. And sometimes, if y'all familiar with boxing, sometimes a boxer that has nothing left, all they gonna do is just throw punches. If they don't, if they got a good chin, if they didn't got knocked out, and they still getting up, watch the hell out for that type of guy, because that guy gonna keep coming at you, and that's usually what the Ravens do. Whether it's the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball, we have shown that we can stop some of the most high power offenses. We have shown that against the Bengals. We've shown that against the Bills. We limit those teams to under 20 points. We have shown where some of the top 10 defenses that can stop us in the pass or stop us in the run, and we didn't went crazy. So these Ravens team, if you can get these guys, about the Ravens and the Eagles, those are two teams I would never want to play against, because they're the same way. And the way they played got them into the Super Bowl. And if the NFC don't tighten up, Jalen Hurts and company is going to keep on going to the Super Bowl. That's the Philly Dogs now, aka. Shout out to them guys. They drafted. They did their homework. They recruited. They keeping them guys close near, and they keeping them under these rookie contracts. They smart. Shout out to them, how they moving with the money.
Shout out Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
No, I think you're exactly right. I think it's a tough team to go against, and the fact that they have their guys locked in, not just Lamar, like every player that they want to be a part of this team,
yeah,
they're locked in, right? They don't have I don't want to call out the Bengals. I think the Bengals are doing a very good job of rebuilding, but they got to pay Burrow still. They got to pay Jamar Chase. They got to pay T. Higgins. They got to potentially pay Joe Mixon. They don't have all their pieces locked in. Obviously, they're great right now. And if they get it figured out and they sign all those guys, they're going to be great for the next 5 years. But the Ravens have all their guys now. And they didn't lose anybody. The Ravens did not lose a single player on their team where it was like, yeah, we want this guy to be the part of our future. When was the last time that happened? Judon? But the Ravens were also kind of rebuilding when they lost Judon. So I don't even necessarily think it was something where it was like, oh no, we lost Judon. It was like, yeah, we don't really need to keep Judon. It's like, we have our stars. We got Lamar. We have Marcus Williams. We have Roquan. We have Marlowe.
I forgot to, before people get us in the comments, we still got Michael Pierce as well.
Michael Pierce, the man who's played like 0 games in 2.5 years. But honestly, I don't think he's played since he played 1 season on the Vikings because he sat out a year.
Yeah.
Because of COVID. He sat out that year.
He's getting a free check if they still paying him. I mean, hey, I ain't mad at it. Get your money how you going to get your money, player.
Yeah, the Udonis Haslam contract. But
yes, sir.
Joshua, do you have anything final you think we should talk about, before we wrap up this episode?
Well, I mean, you still ain't said, I mean, what's your expectation of Lamar in the next 5 years, though? Bold prediction. Give me your bold prediction.
I'm going to go 1 MVP.
Okay.
I'm going to go 1 Super Bowl victory. And I'm going to say that we have a defensive player of the year as well. Actually, 2 defensive player of the years.
Okay.
Roquan and Kyle Hamilton both win one.
That will be crazy.
Though that's my bold prediction over the next 5 years.
I like that. I like that.
All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for listening. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. Make sure to check out the podcast on podcast platforms. And we'll see all of you again next time.